The following podcast contains adult themes, graphic sexual content, strong language, alcohol and drug references, and some infrequent violence. Everything you need for a wild ride.
Also, please do remember that this is a work of fiction. So if any of the characters are familiar to you, or you find similarities with real people or their music, just know that they're all lightly inspired by many of our favorite bands, and they are completely fictional. So let us not get upset about this.
Welcome back to Unruly Confessions. I'm Arabella Gourlay, recording from the West Country.
And I am Nicole and Arabella, recording from the French country.
We hope you enjoyed last week's episode and are back raring to go for more. I'm excited. Are you?
When have I not been excited before?
This is true. She's generally always excited. She's a little pocket rocket.
That is true. So just as a quick refresh from last week's episode where we did a bigger introduction on this, we've been writing and re-editing the story over the past 15 years on and off. Not every day. We're not, insane. Not
that much.
Not completely. You can introduce us to your parents, if your parents are open-minded.
We are a tad insane, but in the best way possible, I'd like to think.
Indeed.
Anyway, it became a place of refuge and safety for us when there was a lot going on in our lives that we either wanted to escape or we just needed another hit of our glorious fantasy world.
It is a freaking glorious world.
It is.
All this to say, this has been an incredibly exciting journey to finally put this out in the public. But as you can imagine, because of the nature of the content, also a vulnerable journey for us.
Super vulnerable.
Yeah. But I've been told I should be more vulnerable, so here we are. So we hope you end up enjoying and loving it as much as we do, because what we'd really love is to have a little community, So please do, if you're enjoying yourself, even if you're not, but mostly if you're enjoying yourself, get in contact with us. You can send us messages directly from our website, or you can do it on our socials, but we'd absolutely love to hear from you.
We really would, and we're everywhere. If you just look it up, we're everywhere, really. We're trying to be, anyway.
We might be right behind you right now.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, I've given Arabella the wonderful task of trying to recall what happened last week. So she's going to recap it for you. Let's see how this goes.
Oh, let's see how it goes. Okay, last week on Unruly Confessions, Nicole went to Sunsphere to meet the band backstage for a meet and greet. While she was there, she got lost as usual, and then she ended up in Mike Solomon's trailer with him. Oh my God. Neither of them knows why they're there, and there is much confusion. And then she gave him the audacious option of a massage 30 seconds in. They talked sex. They also talked a lot of other things, and then when it was time for him to go to the meet and greet, he asked her to go and sign some documents. Ooh. And when she got back, after getting lost yet again, she was given the deal of a lifetime, and all she had to do was one little audition in her mouth.
Well, that's one way to sum it all up. So, without further ado, Arabella, are you ready?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Here we go with episode 2, Pain in the Ass.
Episode 2, Pain in the Ass. I was up at 8 the next morning, overthinking too much to sleep. I dressed in jeans and a green shirt and put on minimal makeup. Before Sylvia left for work, over breakfast, we discussed how bizarre and dreamlike the previous night had seemed, before saying goodbye to each other. I promised to call her if, by some outrageous chance, I was actually contacted and went on tour with the band, something I assured her was damn near impossible. I had a flight back to France the next day, but I had yet to pack my bag and was definitely putting it off for as long as possible due to my extreme dislike of packing and complete disorganization as a human being. Instead, I checked my emails and my Facebook page. I updated my status to how amazing the previous night was, but the phone call from Mike never came. It wasn't that big a surprise, but I was still disappointed. I knew it was too good to be true. I mean, come on. Though I'd be lying if I say it didn't hurt. I was watching television late that afternoon when I received a text. My heart skipped a beat as I saw an American number I didn't recognize.
Hello, Nicole. If you haven't changed your mind, meet Billy at Watford Station at 1700. Mike will explain and you can decide what you want to do. Kind regards, Melissa Casey.
It had to be the real Melissa Casey, or someone was pulling a well-thought-out prank on me. I panicked when I saw the time on my mobile. It was already 4 o'clock. Of course the guy couldn't give me a heads up. I raced upstairs to pack, considering that I had hallucinated receiving a text. I put my suitcase on the bed and started chucking my clothes into it at random. I had to reply to the text, but I had no idea what to say. Finally, I responded, okay. Genius. I am a mastermind of communication. It was a 40-minute train to Watford from Sylvia's flat, so I really needed to shake a tail feather. The last thing I did before leaving the flat was to scrawl Sylvia a completely unbelievable note and stick it to a fridge. I hauled the bag down. ADHD to the max, like, text her. You said you would call. You're not calling. You're leaving a note on the fridge. Like it's 1999. Yeah. But to be fair...
Well, it's all right. We've already... You were checking your Facebook, so that's really aged just there.
Yep. Well, to be fair, this checks out. Like, I'm not saying anything against this. I'm saying I would do this. I would not text you. I would not call you. I would leave you a note on the fridge. And you would be like, what?
No, it's very true.
What?
It's very true. But it's that sort of thing. We are so very much of that age where we check Facebook. You know, we are not TikTokers, Instagrammers, although we'd like to try.
True.
Our generation is Facebook, people. MySpace.
Very true. Right. Let's get back to
Back to it.
So what happened is I left an unbelievable note and stuck it on the fridge. I hauled the bag down the road to the train station where I took the train and couldn't stop bouncing on my seat all the way there. I had no idea what was going to happen when I got to Watford. Was he just going to be standing in the street next to the train station, surrounded by screaming fans? That seemed completely ridiculous. When I exited the train station, my pulse went berserk as Billy, the head of security from the previous evening, climbed out of a black Mercedes. I watched him walk over to me where I stood frozen outside the station doorway. When he arrived in front of me, and I realized how real it was starting to feel, I grinned. My smile was apparently infectious, as Billy, who was frowning before, smiled too. Afternoon, Nicole. Hello, sir. The fact that he was wearing a suit jacket made me feel compelled to call him sir. Yep. I was completely out of my comfort zone. He laughed. The name's Billy. Billy, I repeated. You're not from Orange County, I noted. I can't place your accent. Maybe because the podcaster can't do it. Lafayette, Louisiana, he responded rapidly.
Louisiana.
Okay, so you do the accent then if you're so great.
I don't know. I can't do it either.
I don't even know what it's... Well, it's Cajun, and it's very hard. It's not an easy accent. Lafayette, Louisiana, he responded rapidly. Is this all your stuff? I didn't know what to pack, I admitted. So yeah, this is it. We need to go, he told me. You're already 10 minutes late. I'm sorry, I cringed. I expected a phone call. I mean, I thought it was bullshit, to be honest. Billy nodded. It's all a bit last minute, he agreed. We're on a pretty tight schedule and Mike's waiting to talk to you, so let's go. We need to be in Paris tomorrow. He glanced at his wristwatch. I got into the black Mercedes with Billy, and we drove a few minutes away from the train station. He stopped the car behind a huge black and silver tour bus idling in a wider road. Carter Townsend, the band's rhythm guitarist, stood next to the bus. He lit a cigarette as Billy got out of the car. I got out of the car as well, but hung back nervously, staring at Carter. I couldn't hear what Billy said to Carter, but he threw his arms in the air impatiently, as Billy most probably told him I arrived late at the train station. Carter glanced in my direction as Billy walked back to where I was standing next to the car, and my heart skipped a beat. Go on, Billy told me when I didn't move towards the bus. Shouldn't I get my bag? I asked him, confused. You better have a chat with the band first, he told me. I may still need to take you back to the train station. Oh, okay, that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence.
Oh.
The organisation was very confusing to me. I mean, any organisation is very confusing to me.
It is true. It is true.
Billy smiled. See you later. What? I asked, panicking. You're not coming with me? Absolutely not, he responded. I try not to get too involved with the band's private life, but sometimes it's inevitable. I didn't realise bodyguards also picked up fangirls. I frowned. He chuckled. This is extremely exceptional. So Nicole, you need to go now? He said seriously. We're already very late. Sorry, I said quickly. I already liked Billy. I felt more at ease with him around. I made my way over to the bus, noticing that there was a small crowd gathering on the opposite pavement. I fought not to gape as I arrived in front of Carter. My pulse was out of control. He stepped on his half-finished cigarette and entered the bus without a word to me. I swallowed uncomfortably. I wasn't sure if he was unhappy with my tardiness or he was trying to escape the attention from the public. Probably the former. With Carter gone, I had no idea if I was supposed to climb onto the bus or not. The number of people on the pavement was increasing. Mike hurriedly climbed down the few bus stairs to the door, seconds later. You're late. I'm sorry, I told him. The trains were difficult and I didn't have a lot of warning, so I told you yesterday that we were leaving today, he told me. You could have easily prepared. I didn't believe this
Bullshit! Bullshit! I just have to say bullshit. In London, for most people, it takes more than an hour to get across London to somewhere like Watford.
Yeah, but they're Americans. They don't know this.
It's not even like central London.
No, it's
like,
not.
To get across, who knows where you're going? You know, the longest journey can take up to 2 hours.
That is completely
London.
True. Bella makes a good point defending
and they gave you one hour from the moment the text arrived until you had to be there.
That is true.
Rude.
I mean, we don't know exactly what time the text, well, when it arrived, because it's an American number, you don't know what is happening with signals and stuff. But regardless of all that, you're completely right. Thank you for defending me. However, this is a Dom. He's never wrong, is he?
No.
No matter what.
Silly men. Silly men!
Not silly men. If he was a woman and a Dom, same.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
true,
wrong, you're right. It's a thing.
Would have thought about it better.
Yeah, and a non-American, non-person from non-America. What am I trying to
non-American person, non-person from non-America.
Someone not from America would have, or someone who knew London a bit better. Anyway, I'm so sorry. I told you yesterday that we were leaving today, he told me. You could have easily prepared. I didn't believe this was actually going to happen. He sighed. Well, I wanted a good amount of time to explain everything to you, but now we only have 10 minutes before we have to leave, or we'll throw the schedule. You could have called me. He cast an impatient look at me. We're working. I put this half an hour aside to have this conversation. Now we have even less. You're Mike Solomon, right? A girl suddenly asked Mike. She and 3 of her friends made their way over from the other side of the pavement. Mike's face instantly changed, and he smiled kindly at them. Yes, how are you all doing? I told you it was the band's bus. One of the others insisted. Could we have your autograph, please? Another asked. Maybe a photo? Mike didn't tell them that we were late or didn't have time for any of the favors they asked for, but instead signed the autographs generously and posed for photos. You can get on the bus, Nicole, he told me. I was incredibly uncomfortable getting on the bus by myself, but I did so anyway. The bus driver was a man in his late 40s. He had tousled blonde hair and a thin moustache. He wore jeans and a red checked shirt, but no shoes. Hey, he smiled. I'm Mike. He held his hand out to me confidently. Hey, another Mike, I said, shaking his hand. Nicole, nice to meet you. Pleasure's all mine, babe, he informed me. The boys are just down this hallway. I'm sure you can hear them. Sure enough, loud voices were coming from where he gestured down the bus hallway. It was followed by booming laughter. I'll just wait for Mike, I told him, nodding towards the door. He'll be here any moment. As you like. When Mike, the frontman, got back onto the bus, he told Mike, the driver, Lock the doors, please. It's getting crowded out there. We've been waiting here too long. The bus driver immediately locked the bus door. Andrew's been asking when we're leaving. He's getting impatient, he told us. Andrew Stevens was the band manager. Aren't we all? Mike the frontman retorted. Tell him we'll leave in 10 minutes.
Somebody's in trouble.
Yep, well, as we said, not my fault, right?
Not your fault.
Never my fault. Okay, that was going a bit far. It is most of the time my fault, but this time it was not my fault.
It was not.
All right. I followed Mike down the narrow bus hallway. Narrow because of the various tables and seats on either side of it. The next part of the bus had curtained bunk beds built into the side of it, and a small but well-equipped kitchenette. We found the rest of the band in a semicircle around a table and leather sofas at the back of the bus. I stood uncomfortably against the wall as the 4 familiar faces stared at me curiously. Mike sat down at the table with the rest of the band. 2 crew members I recognized from videos over the years were leaning on either side of the wall to my left and right. On Mike's right sat Alexander Masters, nicknamed Zander, the band's lead guitarist. Next to him, sitting in the middle of the table, was the drummer, Jason Shanahan, more commonly referred to as Jay. Next to Jay was Carter, and on his right, Noah Nowak, the bassist who was closest to my left. All 5 of them were heavily tattooed everywhere but their faces. Zander had shoulder-length, chestnut-coloured hair and hazel eyes. The most facial hair he ever considered growing was the little stubble visible on his strong jawline, giving his high cheekbones a more prominent appearance. Like Mike, he was muscular and broad-shouldered. Jason was 6'6", with a lean build. He had striking blue eyes, but wore glasses most of the time offstage. He had auburn hair that hung past his shoulders and a dark brown moustache and small beard. There was a visible scar from the corner of his mouth to his chin. Carter had grey eyes, short black hair, and was a little chubbier than the rest. He always said that he got his tattoos to make him look more muscular. Between his long eyelashes and full lips, he grew a goatee to not appear too feminine. Noah was a classically attractive silver fox with his short salt and pepper hair, well-maintained beard, and deep dark brown eyes. However, he was 5'6" and stocky, and the other guys would never let him forget it. Noah was also the youngest of the band at 36. The rest of them were all 40. They all grew up together in Orange County and had been a band for over 20 years. Look, we don't have a lot of time, Mike started. So this is Noah. Don't bother introducing everyone, I interrupted him. I know everyone's names, birth dates, blood types. I was delighted when I made them all laugh. Of course I didn't know their blood types. Guys,
Really?
I don't... Do you know their blood types?
No, I don't.
Of course we don't. Wow, man. Like, where would we even get their blood types? We'd have to, like, have medical records.
Break it. Yeah, we'd fully have to hack their medical records.
That would be... I think that's illegal. I think.
I'm pretty damn certain it's illegal. In fact, I know it's illegal.
Just to set everyone's hearts at ease here, we do not know their blood types.
We do not.
And I'm not sure you can get that kind of thing on Google anyway. Because who wants to know, right? Like, who cares? Guys, this is Nicole. Mike half smiled. I suppose you don't know Mark and Jacob Miller? He gestured to the 2 crew members on either side of me. Mark and Jacob were brothers who'd been working with the band since the very beginning of their career. Mark was at the time the head of merchandise and distribution, while Jacob was the drum technician. The Miller brothers looked very similar, with their dark hair, dark eyes, and muscular builds. Not personally, I replied, but I do know who they are. Mark Miller chuckled. Would you look at that? He looked over at his brother. We might as well be as famous as they are. He gestured towards the band. I wouldn't take it that far, I smiled, but I already liked the Miller brothers. Now for the rules of the game, Mike stated. There are quite a lot of them, ranging from between tour rules, which are non-negotiable and primordial, and our rules, which are, of course, negotiable and won't surpass your limits. I opened my mouth to speak, but he answered the question I was about to ask. The second part of the rules can be discussed just between the 2 of us. I nodded. I assume the band will be around all the time, right? Mike frowned. Of course, why? I shrugged. We might as well discuss everything here then, I told him. I'm sure they know exactly what's going on. There are no secrets between us, he answered. Besides, it's also practical. To have a private conversation on this bus is very difficult. You get to know people really well on tour. Noah winked at me. This could take a little while, Mike told me, so why don't you just sit down? Where? I could see all the space around the table was taken. He tapped his left thigh. I wasn't going to say no to that opportunity, so I sat down obediently on his lap. He rolled his eyes. I won't break. I know, I countered. I'm just very uncomfortable. I wasn't hyperventilating on his lap like I thought I would. I had completely forgotten to breathe. It was only when I became dizzy that I realized I was holding my breath. I let the breath out in a whoosh of air and then gasped. It's best to breathe, Mike suggested. Keeps you alive. I'm sorry, I told him. I'm trying. So, for obvious reasons, this will be a verbal agreement, and you can leave whenever you want, Mike explained. Of course, actual sex-related details can be discussed as we go, and they're always negotiable if you're uncomfortable with anything. He hooked a string of hair behind my ear. But more important is that you know what's expected of you. I might have been gaping slightly. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, I was gaping. Are you shitting me? I'm gaping right now. Okay,
Jesus, I'm just like, yeah, ooh.
I'm calming down. Hang on, I need to calm down. I'm super hot. Who wrote this? To be fair, it is 34 degrees outside, so I can't be blamed entirely for this problem. But yes.
Stupid.
I might have been gaping slightly. Okay, I said. Are we going to discuss it now? No, we're going to discuss it later, he said sarcastically. I'm trying to listen, I said, resting my hands uncomfortably in my lap, but I can't think when I'm this nervous. They laughed, and I once again felt thrilled that I was amusing. Can I please stand? I begged. Go on. He lifted his leg slightly and gave me a boost off his lap. I was relieved to be away from his warmth, but then everyone was staring at me again.
Everything was staring at you. Everything. The googly eyes on the fridge, the microwave.
To be fair, everything could be staring at me right now. So
it really could. It's very true.
Okay. Go on. He lifted his leg slightly and gave me a boost off his lap. I was relieved to be away from his warmth, but then everyone was staring at me again. The very first tour rule he mentioned was that when the band was working, in whatever capacity, I only speak when I was spoken to and stay out of everyone's way. You're joking, I exclaimed loudly. I can't not speak until I'm spoken to. I liked you better when you were suffocating on my lap, Mike said calmly. What if no one speaks to me? I asked, sounding a little desperate. Then we'll have a nice quiet trip, he responded. You'll only need your mouth for one thing. Wow.
No holding back.
No, not for a second. All the guys laughed admiringly at his crude joke when I blushed. Hilarious, Mike, I said, crossing my arms in defense. People will speak to you, he assured me. We like to have fun, but this refers to when we're working. It's serious. We're professionals. And this is a headlining tour. You will have to entertain yourself. No time for games when we're working. Got it? I nodded. Of course. In public, that means at venues, sound checks, interviews, wherever, you refer to the crew members, management, and staff by their titles unless they personally ask you not to, Mike continued. Professional, I said aloud. That makes sense. So I assume this doesn't include the band, right? I laughed, but stopped when none of them laughed. I'm not allowed to call you by your first names? In public, yes, Mike smiled. In private, though, you call us Mr., followed by our last names. You're kidding! No, I'm not, he stated plainly. For example, Carter will be Townsend. Mr. Townsend, rather, not just Townsend. Townsend!
Just Townsend.
Carter will be Townsend. No, I'm not, he stated plainly. For example, Carter will be Mr. Townsend, Zander, Mr. Masters, or Sir. Get it? I'm not dumb, Mike. Clearly, he smirked, pointing out the irony. That mistake earned me a crack up among the band. That's already 4-1 for me, Mike pointed out. I sighed. What about the Miller brothers? What about us? Mark Miller asked, smiling. I take it you two are involved in this, so what am I supposed to call you? Mike shrugged. Whatever you want. This only refers to the band members. But why? I asked him. We like to have fun, he grinned. And it's funny. Wait, Jacob Miller said. Could you call me Mr. Fluffykins? I cringed. Do I have to? He laughed. You can just call me Jacob. I smiled, relieved. Thank you. Look, this is going to take forever if you're going to ask a question after each sentence, Mike sighed. And as I've said, I'll save my questions for later then. Good. So I made a short list of the things I like, he told me, but they're not exhaustive, nor are they non-negotiable. Yes, you've said that a few times now, I reminded him. I understand they are negotiable. He handed me a piece of paper. You had time to scroll down your fetishes, but not to give me a call? Zander snorted into his shoulder. Just read the damn thing, Mike ordered, but I could see he struggled not to smile.
Shibari bondage. Impact play with 1 hand, 2 paddle, 3 flogger, 4 riding crop, 5 belt, 6 cane. Humiliation play. 1 name calling, 2 spitting, 3 face slapping, 4 acts of service. Anal play. 1 toys or fingers, 2 penetration. Suffocation play. 1 use of a gag and or gagging, 2 head underwater, 3 choking. Nipple play. 1 toy use on nipples, 2 twisting/biting, 3 impact play on nipples. Blowjobs. 1 deep throat, 2 irrimation. Primal play. 1 rough sex, 2 manhandling.
Irrimation, I asked. What does that mean? Vigorous oral sex, Mike clarified. Throat fucking, Jason said, just in case I still didn't get it. Thanks, dude, Mike laughed. So, will there be punishments? I asked awkwardly. They will be suggested and consented to when and if necessary, Mike answered. I tried not to smile, thinking that they would most definitely be necessary.
Absolutely. Not a chance in hell. They won't.
On that note, Mike said, how do you feel about being naked in front of the band? Hang the fuck on, I said, shocked. Naked in front of the band? What do you mean? Is it not self-explanatory? Why would I need to be naked in front of the band? Well, perhaps as a form of punishment, he said, not at all uncomfortable with the conversation. Or, sometimes it's just unavoidable when you spend 24 hours a day together on this bus. Tours literally change relationships, Carter inserted. I need to think about that one. I glanced around at the other band members, trying to contain my blush. So, a few other things you need to know. No insulting or referring to anyone's current or previous partners, Mike told me. You may not... Why? You're laughing because you know I already did it.
Yes.
I already did it. Darn. I actually do it to Carter all the time.
Yes.
Because
they're referring, not insulting their partners.
No, I don't...
They're referring
No,
to...
I don't insult their partners, I insult him.
Yes.
Sorry, okay, wow, shut up.
Right, back we go.
So, a few other things you need to know. No insulting or referring to anyone's current or previous partners, Mike told me. You may not discuss the details of what happens in private with anyone other than the band and the Miller brothers. Does your management know, and your bodyguards, know what's going on? I asked them. They do, Mike answered me, but it's need-to-know basis. They don't need to know the details. But of course they had to know some details for you to be here. Which, by the way, Carter said, our manager isn't overjoyed about, so don't piss him off. I cringed. Not a good start. Don't worry about it, Mike told me. He just doesn't like sudden changes. Everything seems clear enough, I told him. Do I bring up what I have a problem with now, or yes, quickly? Not a fan of the cane.
Quickly?
Yes.
He's had a time to go on like a whole thing.
Yes.
But you have to be super sharpish.
I guess it's because they want to leave, and he's kind of like.
Plus, I know you can jibber jabber.
Maybe that's a good thing to clarify. Mike isn't a douchebag, okay? So he's obviously not going quickly like, I don't give a crap about you. It's quickly because he knows I can paragraph, and I've asked like 50,000 questions already, and
monologuing the hell out of things.
Exactly. So yeah, it's not his fault. He just knows, he gets the vibe. He knows I'm about to start a thing. Do I bring up what I have a problem with now, or yes, quickly? Not a fan of the cane, I told him. No cane, Mike agreed. Name calling is fine, I said. I just don't like my intelligence being insulted, but it's not a deal breaker. Minimal insulting of intelligence, he smiled. Am I allowed to have sex with anyone else while I'm on tour? I asked curiously. No, only with me, Mike answered instantly. That includes the rest of the band, I imagine. Yes. Is that a hard rule? He chuckled.
Does it have to be?
Yes, but I'm curious. Who do you have in mind? I accidentally, on purpose, caught Jason's eye and looked away quickly. No one?
No one.
Well then, anything else? Do acts of service include the rest of the band and the Millers? Like, if they ask me to do something non-sexual, do I have to do it? I haven't thought about it. Mike admitted. What do you guys think? Could be interesting. Zander smiled. Acts of service include the band members and the Millers, Mike amended. Within reason. Safety first. Right. If there's nothing else, one final thing, Mike declared. Punishments will be for playful things, but breaking hard rules like getting in the way of the tour or speaking outside of the circles will result in you going home. Got it? Got it. If you agree to this, we expect you to stick to our schedule, Mike resumed. That means when you're asked to be somewhere, you be there. And you be there on time. You wake up on time. You eat on time. We're not waiting around for you. This is a 40-day tour, and though there are some luxuries, it's tough. Do I have an itinerary I can follow? I asked hopefully. Sure, but it changes all the time, he advised. Better to keep your ear to the ground. I nodded. That's fair. Mike is making it sound like all work and no play. Noah smiled. Don't worry, we like to have fun too. So, is there anything else? I checked. That's everything, he confirmed. I was so excited to be there that Mike could have proposed anything and I would still have agreed to it all. Then I agree, I sighed, relieved. Gosh, I feel better now. I laughed. Whew, I should go get my bag. Your bag goes underneath the bus, Carter revealed. I've never been on a tour bus, I confess, but that makes sense. I started to walk up the bus, but Carter called me for me to stop. Don't get off the damn bus. You'll make us even more late. We'll ask Billy to sort it. I'll call Billy and let him know we're ready, Mike told everyone. Nicole, get me a beer. Where is it? In the fridge? He rolled his eyes as he held his mobile to his ear. Where else would we keep beer? I got his beer from the fridge, then waited for him to finish his short conversation with Billy. There! What am I doing?
Straight off the bat.
Just, the bus has barely started. I mean, the bus isn't even moving yet, and I'm already being an absolute moose. There! I banged the beer down on the table in front of him. He gave me a scorching look, and I added, Mr. Solomon? He grabbed my wrist and yanked me forward so that my face was inches away from his. I gasped in shock. Be careful, he said, his breath hot on my face. The adrenaline that rushed through me made me feel so dizzy that I almost swooned. I'm not a pure submissive, I said once I regained my poise. I just wanted to remind you I'm a brat. He let go of my wrist and I took a few steps away to calm my breathing. Does anyone else want a beer? I asked breathlessly. Jacob laughed. Not anymore. Can I have a nap? I asked hopefully. I didn't need a nap, but I needed a moment to assess the crazy that my life had just become. I'll wake you if I need you, Mike acknowledged. I was so relieved to get a moment to breathe that I jogged back up the hallway aimlessly. Where are you going? Mike called after me. Where do I sleep? I yelled back to him. Don't scream at me. Come here. I took a deep breath and walked back to them. Where do I sleep? I asked and then added without being able to help myself. Sir. I put mock emphasis on the sir. He tapped the closest bunk bed on my left. Under me. My cheeks burned with blood as I looked up at him. I recovered quickly. Oh, good, I smiled. So if you have a wet dream, I'll be the first to know. Why? Why in the world?
Sense, but I love it.
It doesn't really at all. But it checks out that I would say something that ridiculous. The rest of the guys laughed. I was definitely playing to the gallery. There it is. I was playing to the gallery.
There it is.
Mike yanked me closer to him by my shoulder. Manners, he smirked. 1 point for me, though, right? I endeavored. Just get in there, he chuckled, pointing towards the bunk bed. So, no point for me? I'm still trying. I'm like, give me the point. Give it.
I want the point. Give me the fucking point.
I just want someone to call me a good girl, okay? Sorry. Wow. Calm down.
That went a whole other way.
Well, it's not. It's the same way. Anyway, okay.
I know.
The look he gave me sent me scurrying into the curtained bunk bed. Finally, I could breathe again. I noted how incredibly turned on I was. It must have been the adrenaline. I was going to need to learn to control myself and not be so starstruck if I wanted to survive with them for the entire tour. I closed my eyes and tried to block out the guys' voices that were coming from right next to me. She's cute, Jason said in a nonchalant, shrug-offish kind of way. I'm not sure this is a good idea, I heard Carter say. What? Mike asked. Way to speak up now, man. You had like the all day and when I was sorting this with Andrew? Damn it, Mike, Carter sighed. You're thinking with your dick. Carter, it was Noah. Is this the best time? She can probably hear everything, Zander agreed. I don't give a shit, Carter shot. I'll say it to her face. Oh, all right. All right. Oh, all right, Mike said. Tell me what you're thinking. Can you really trust her not to blab on everything we do for publicity? Carter continued after a moment. We don't know her. Do you really want this kind of responsibility? That's a bit melodramatic, bro, Noah told him. It's not like she's the first woman on tour. I heard Jason...
He's a drama queen.
Huh? Oh, yeah, Carter's
a drama queen.
Yeah. You guys are going to learn this about Carter. He's a drama queen, for sure. I heard Jason distinctly giggle. How will her presence do more than give everyone a hard-on? No one's attention. Say it like... And Jason says it like it is. All right?
Oh, yeah.
No one's attention will be where it should be, Carter said, annoyed. What are we doing here, huh? Noah sighed. What are you getting at? I don't think she should be on the bus with us, or anywhere near us while we're working, Carter voiced his opinion. She can travel with the dancers or something, and she can hang out with Mike while we're off. My heart jumped. No, Mike replied simply. Why the hell not? Carter shot. Because I want her here. So do I, Jason agreed. She's been here 20 minutes and she's already made things more exciting. It was silent, then Carter added, well, if you accept it's on your head. She did sign an NDA, Carter, Mike reminded him. There's very little you need to worry about on that front. I assure you I take full responsibility for her and I'll make sure she stays in line. Okay, bro. Carter relented. I trust you. Is she really worth all this trouble? I'm not sure yet. Damn. I mean, again,
yeah, he hasn't known you that long, so
no, he's kind of crazy. He's known me a hot minute.
Yeah, but it was a hot minute.
I'm not sure yet. It was a very hot.
It was a hot minute though.
Whew. Anyway, I can't stop smiling. It's so painful. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I know, my face too is like, ow.
Let's go. Okay, bro. Carter relented. I trust you. Is she really worth all this trouble? I'm not sure yet, Mike told him, but there is something about that pain in the ass.
Hey.
She's certainly entertaining, Zander decided. She also gives a damn good blowjob, Mike added to my dismay as the rest of the band laughed. And someone wolf whistled, and someone I couldn't place it. Damn, really? That's great for you, man, Carter said, but doesn't help me very much. Not yet, Mike chuckled. She's got enough on her plate for the moment, perhaps in a few weeks if she agrees. Excuse me? I called loudly from the bunk. Have you seen you, Carter? I'm sure you have no problem getting some in that department without dragging me into it. Not that I wouldn't. Hey, Mike snapped. I mean, if I was allowed to, of course, Mr. Solomon, I added quickly. You shut up, he called. You're supposed to be sleeping, not listening to our conversation. I felt the bus start to move. There was no turning back anymore. Not that I would have wanted to if I could.
Well, with the end of that episode, we really hope you join us for the next, which is called Chicken Tramzini. Please join us next week for episode 3.
I'm sure you guys have noticed that what we're doing is naming the episodes crazy things that come from the episode. So if that helps you look forward to it a little bit, Chicken Tramzini has something to do with the next episode.
The next episode.
Yeah.
Each title is chosen purposefully to confuse and amuse. Amuse?
Confuse and amuse. And on that note, I'm sure you all realized that today's episode was called Pain in the Ass, and that you certainly found where that came from.
And why. And why.
Why, most importantly. Remember to love everyone. Maybe just not as physically as we do in this story.
So physically.
Hanging on to everything you said.